Creating quote colouring pages is relatively easy. We can create patterned colouring pages like this in Midjourney, then we can find fonts over on Creative Fabrica to design quotes on top of. Now what I'm going to do in this video is share with you how I find fonts over on Creative Fabrica and then turn them into colouring pages just like this. I have a few different patterned colouring pages just here, which I created with Midjourney. Now what I like to do is create quotes on top of these to finish the pages off. Now creating colouring pages, patterned colouring pages like these is relatively easy, and I've already made a few videos about this, creating them with Midjourney on the channel. Now what I'll do is link those videos down in the description so you can go through and watch. But what we're going to do is head on over to Creative Fabrica and I'm going to share with you my process of finding fonts to use in my books. And I'm going to share with you a couple of tips as well. So let's head on over to Creative Fabrica. Now I love Creative Fabrica just because there's so much great stuff that I can use in my books. But the main reason that I use them these days is for fonts. See, if you have a Canva paid subscription and a Creative Fabrica subscription, you can come in, download any fonts that you like as many times as you want and then upload them into Canva. Now once you're here on Creative Fabrica, you want to come over here to fonts. Now there's multiple ways that you can look through these. We can actually look through the categories. So if we click on script fonts, we could then go through all of these, and there's quite a lot of fonts. We can also go through the display fonts as well and look through there as well. But what I like to do most of the time is just come to the fonts page. I like to come down to view all popular fonts, and then I like to filter this just here by latest. Now why do I like to do this? Well, this is going to show me all of the fonts which have recently been published here on Creative Fabrica. Now if we go back over just to a category like script fonts or display fonts, we can also do that here as well. So instead of having it by popularity, that means which everyone else is using, we want to go to latest and then it's going to show up all of the latest fonts. So that's what I like to do. That's how I like to filter it. Now one thing I want to note really quick, and that is Creative Fabrica now has over 131,000 fonts. So once you start looking through here, you're going to find some really nice fonts which will work extremely well in a colouring book. Now I highly suggest taking your time finding the fonts that you want to use, because a good portion of what makes your design looks good are the fonts that you choose. So really take some time, spend a good amount of time as well choosing and finding your fonts. Remember, there's now over 131,000. So spend an hour, maybe two, just going through the fonts and finding the fonts that you want to use. Now, quick side note, if you do want to check out Creative Fabrica at all, then there will be a link down in the description where you can sign up completely for free and download 10 items. After the 10th download, or after 1 month, the subscription renews at only $9 per month. Or if you upgrade to the yearly plan, you can get it for only $4.99 per month. Now disclaimer, this is an affiliate link, so if you do decide to purchase, I will make a small commission. Now, when choosing your fonts, what do you want to look for? Well, you want really bold fonts. This is going to make it easier to turn into fonts for colouring pages. So we see these ones just here and these just here. These really thin ones wouldn't look that good at all. You want nice, bulky, thick fonts. So something like this donkey would work extremely well, and so would this gifting. In fact, let's open that gifting in a new tab because we'll take a look at that as well. Now another thing that you want to do is when you do your designing, you either want to stick to one type of font or two. You want something like this paired with a really bold font. So a script font like these would work extremely well with a display font. Again, you want one that's really bulky and bold combined with a script. So let's go ahead and take one of these so we can head on over to Canva. Let's go through these. Let's change this to sort by latest. Let's have a little filter through here and take a little look. This Holy Sweet, so this would actually work extremely well because again it's nice and bulky and there's plenty of room for someone to colour in once we turn that into an actual colouring page. So if we take a look just here, we can see what that looks like. That looks good, but then we kind of want to pair that with something like this. So now let's go ahead and download this. Let's head on over to Canva. Let's click on here. Let's go to text. Let's go to here. Let's go to here as well. So we've added text. We've gone to the fonts up here. Right down here is where we can upload a font. So if we click on here and add this gifting, that's the font's name. Let's add that. Yes, we can upload. Let's give that a second. Let's head on over to here. Let's download this one as well. Let's go back. Let's just open this file. Let's go back to here and upload this one as well. So let's go into the folder. Let's take the first one, the OTF. Let's open that. Yes, we have permission. And now those two fonts are uploaded in Canva and now we can use them. So let's go to one of the fonts and type it in the search bar. Holy Sweet, I believe it's this one. Now we have that font just here. So let's go ahead and put your. We're going to just make a little quote. So let's do this. Let's make that bigger like so. Let's move that to here. And now this is where we can start turning it into a colouring page. So what we want to do is go to Effects, and recently Canva has actually added an outline feature, which is just here. Now before I was using Splice, I'd change the offset to 0, I'd change the direction, I'd change the inside colour to white, and then we'd have the colouring page. We could also play around with the thickness, but now they actually have outline just here, which does exactly the same thing. So we're going to change the outside colour to black. We want the inside colour to white, so let's change that, and there we go. Now if we go back onto effects, we can play around with that thickness, as we can see just here. Now once we've got that, we're going to duplicate that. We're going to put quote just here, your quote, and then we can put here. Now if we go back to that other font which we downloaded, which was gifting, I believe, so let's take away that. Let's type in gifting and that should pop up. There we go. That doesn't quite look right, so now what we're going to do is just change that so it's not uppercase. Your quote just here. Oh, I actually really like this font. That looks great. Now what we're going to do is just make that a little bit smaller. We're going to put that there. We might make that one a little bit smaller there as well. And then we actually have a couple of fonts that look fairly well together. Now all I can say is test it, play around with it until you start finding fonts that work well together, because remember, a good portion of your design comes down to the fonts that you actually use. Now another top tip which I'm really going to give you, or quickly going to give you should I say, is on effects where you can play with thickness. Depending on the thickness or the outline on your colouring pages will depend on the thickness on the outline of your fonts. So what do I mean by that? I mean you want the outline to match up with the outline on your page. If you have it all too thick, then it just doesn't quite look right. So what I like to do is just match that up, or sometimes a little bit thicker, just so it looks good. So now we've got that one like that. We could keep it like that and then play around with these ones and make that a little bit thicker as well. We just want everything congruent so it looks like it's all designed together. So that looks good. In fact, let's just go a little tiny bit thinner, maybe to there, 46. Let's change this one to 46 as well, and there we go. We could actually just move that like so and keep it there. Now, I personally think that this looks pretty good. So remember, when you're on Creative Fabrica browsing around for fonts, always go by latest so you can see what's been recently added, and then take some time. But remember, you want fonts that are quite bold, so that way, when you turn them into a colouring page, it's going to be easier for people to colour in. If you have something really thin like this, then as you can see, it wouldn't work really well once you've designed a quote. Now, what we can quickly do is just copy this. We can put that onto this one, see what that looks like. Actually looks pretty good on that one. We can put it on this one as well. And we can see just here, it doesn't quite look right because it's a little bit too thick. So this is what I mean when I say you want to play around with the thickness to match it up. So on this page, it would work better if it was a little bit thinner, like so. So let's just change that one to 32. But there you go. That's how I find fonts over on Creative Fabrica. Go through every category, go through all, filter through latest, and then just spend some time finding the right combinations. And remember, display fonts work really well with script fonts, and then combined together, you can create some really nice designs. So, if you liked the video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and also hit subscribe as well. And if you want to watch my video on creating patterned colouring pages with Midjourney, then click right here and watch this video.